This is Pastor Troy right here. Get ready for what we call something incredible. It's called the Best of Season 3. Our executive producer, Donna Kraniski's gone in the files. She's dug around, looked at your comments, and she's picked the best of Season 3 to throw back at you. So over the next few weeks, get ready. It's coming up right now. The first of, the second of, and a whole season of nothing but the best of Season 3. Get ready as that episode rolls now, and don't worry. We'll have new Season 4 episodes coming at you very soon. Be praying for us. We'll see you soon. I'm Pastor Troy. You've been on the dock. Now get ready for Season 3 Best of. Mr. Otis Redding right there on the dock, our own version on the dock.org. You're sitting right on the dock of the bay here. We're going to talk about all kinds of things in this episode. And as always, go to onthedock.org. The episode will jump right in your lap, and we're going to have a great conversation. We are about conversations that will propel your faith out of the shallows. Get up out of these seats. Not yet, though. Finish the show and get up out, and you're going to go out of the harbor there. See the pass where the sun is? You're going to sail out there, get into life, and go do some great things for God. So we're going to propel you out of here. You're going to be encouraged today. You might even want to be a foster parent when this is done. You never know, or a helper or something like that. We hope we inspire you to do something great with your life. Don't just sit around. We're tired of everybody just sitting around. Go do something. Sit on the dock of the bay, though, for just like 40 more minutes. Okay. Mr. Otis Redding. Don't you like that, Otis Redding? On the dock of the bay. Do you know about that song, Zach?
Oh, I love Otis Redding.
Oh, man. 2 minutes. It's my favorite song.
You
see, I got it, baby.
Absolutely.
I got 2 minutes, 36 seconds. One of the quickest songs. Otis was recording the song, and he got to the second verse, and he began to whistle. The famous whistle verse. Mm-hmm. And he got done and they finished up, and the producer said, where's the second verse? He said, well, I haven't written it yet. He said, I just whistled because it wasn't ready. And they went on a gig. They went out and played up north in Michigan, someplace up there in Minnesota. And on the way back, they died in an airplane crash. Oh. Whole band. And they never finished the song. So the song was unfinished, and the whistle verse was where second verse would go. Oh, wow. And then they produced the song. Of course, it went to number one immediately for a long time. Wow. And so one of my favorite songs, I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee on the river. This is the Cottonwood Table. So this kind of gives me a little bit of the river. And I know the dock here could be Georgia or wherever, but for me, it's just like a Mississippi River dock. The old big old Mississippi River just keeps rolling along. Old Man River. I grew up listening to Old Man River sung by an old man every year at the Sunset Symphony. He had a real deep voice, And it was so good. Someday I'll play. Someday I need to play that. Yeah. You know the song?
Old man. Yeah, my high school teacher used to sing it all the time.
Well, we had a guy that sang that every year. Yeah, you got it. You got it. And he could drop that thing down there. I got to play that sometime on the dock because I have the recording of it. We'd go every year to the Sunset Symphony and hear that. And when I get there, I just get the vibe of home. But you can't stay on the river. You got to get up and go do something. So that's what we want to inspire you today. We've got a great show coming to you. YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. Go check us out on Facebook, Roku, Rumble, Sermonet, and Google Play is now YouTube Music. And also, we'd love to hear from you on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which is X. You can't keep up with anybody anymore. Getter and Instagram. Just try to find us. If you can't find us, we'll tell you how in a minute. Subscribe, hit like, notify, tell others about us. Be a harasser in a good way. Tell people that they must watch this show or they're just not the cool kid. All right, hit subscribe, like, notify, tell others about it, and get them involved. We'd love to have you as a Patreon sponsor. 3 ways to sponsor, 4 ways to partner. Go find this page on Patreon, look us up, and you'll see the details. And there are coffee mugs involved. Even potential show appearances. Go check it out. Find out how you can be a part, whether a sponsor or a partner. If you're a business or organization, you're a ministry, you have something you want to talk about, we'll work with you to put that together in a show. Also, go to SLNT. We partner with them. You got to see my Faraday bag here. Got the phone in it. They cannot listen to me unless they download me. And on the doc.org. Go to slnt.com, silent.com. Promo code OTD. Reclaim your right to privacy. We'll have a nice commercial at the end of this to explain why you need these products. And they've got everything from backpacks to laptop sleeves, key fob guards, big time, credit card cards. They got purses with special slots and things like that to protect your privacy. Check that out. You can go to slnt.com. promo code OTD, or go to our landing page for those great discounts and help us out and protect your right to privacy at the same time. If you're totally confused, go to onthedoc.org. Links to everything here. Everything. Patreon, SLNT, all of our platforms, you can go there. Email at onthedoc, info@onthedoc.org for questions and more. I'm Pastor Troy, your host today. I got Mother Beth in studio. Mother, you doing okay?
I'm doing great, honey. This is good stuff.
We haven't done an evening show in a while. This is an evening show
No,
for
I
us.
know.
We used to do a lot of these. Donna, we remember we used to do quite a few of these. We haven't done one. Y'all brought us out late. This bunch of this, and this bunch is a party. We are going to be up all day. We've all been drinking coffee and hot teas, and we'll have to go to IHOP or something down there. Yeah, we're going to go out. So got Mother Beth in studio here. Got Donna Kradowski. Donna is not on camera. We had to use the camera for one of our guests today. So she is on one of our 6 new mics. Thank you to our sponsors that helped us with that. Buy stuff at SLNT, and we will get 2 more cameras for season 4, and you will always see Donna. Hashtag.
Even when you don't want to.
Even when you don't want to. We always want to see you, Donna. We always want to see you. So we're working on that, and we've got in studio here. We're talking about taking it to the street spotlight, our super series through this whole season. We've had about 10 different ministry spotlights. Today we're with Lutheran Social Services of Illinois, doing a look at their Foster a Child program, and we are in part 2. Go back and watch part 1. You don't want to miss it. There were some incredible stunts done there in that show. You don't want to go miss it. Go see it. But in this story, we're going to find out how they got their superpowers, the backstory of how Lutheran did this, how these guys got involved, and what are some of the challenges and next moves. And gosh, we got other special questions over here. They're coming out of the notebook. And we got in studio again with us, Hannah Nelson. She is with Lutheran Social Services of Illinois. You gave a different title last time, Child Welfare Resources Supervisor. What was that again?
Licensing supervisor.
Licensing supervisor.
It's
Okay.
a lot easier.
A lot easier. Okay, we got you here. We got Zach over on Studio B. Zach's agent demanded that he have a couch
Everybody.
picture, and we put the same offer out. If you know where that picture is taken, his picture there, K-State manager, great picture. It's on a couch. They said he likes couches, so we brought a couch in for him. If you can tell us where that couch is, and you're not in my family, you might get a cup. You might get a cup, but you got to let Donna know.
If
Okay?
you find me on the couch, you get 2 cups.
Yes, we'll give him parent cups. Yes, yes.
I need a list now of all the promises.
Just for the record, I consider that couch my office.
Okay.
So we haven't clashed yet, but the good thing is there's a similar seat right to the,
Yeah, to the right of it.
Well, don't give it all away, Troy.
Yeah, don't.
I'm dyslexic, so I'm struggling with this right now. Is it my left or your left, or my right or your right? All right. At the other end of the table, Rosemary Nelson. God, incredible. You got, I mean, we got the best voices we've ever had in the studio. We got her voice, and we've got Zach's voice. Zach could be like, so Rosemary, tell us, you're clinical screener, Northern Illinois University Psychology Department, DCFS.
Sure.
A lot of alphabet letters there.
Yes, yes.
You were great. We can't wait. We're going to dig into you this time. I've got stuff for you. I got tore up by her in the first episode. Go watch. She schooled us. Yeah, she's sharp. Pre-game, she schooled us. But I'm going to unwind her clock in a minute. I'm going to ask her some tough questions. So be paying attention. We've had a great show for you. Again, go watch that. Well, let me just say this up front. lsi.org/foster care. Go check that out. If you do nothing else, go find out about their base program. Make a difference in the life of a child. There's lots of ways you can do that. Hannah talked about that thoroughly, kind of the base entry programs, how they we talked about in the last episode, how they kind of meet the child the first time, the situation, the process. And we're going to get a little bit more into the things they offer to prepare foster parents this time. So Hannah, we'll start with you, and we'll just beat it around the bush here, so to speak. Tell us about the parents as you're helping to evaluate parents. You talked about the process of a parent. Could be 3 to 6 months to kind of get in the process. If you're a relative of a child that's taken out, that process can be expedited because of familiar relationships, but there's still a process.
So if you are the relative of a child that comes into care, you can have that child in your home without becoming licensed.
Without becoming licensed.
Yes.
But there's still some process, and you give some support to those families. And
We do give support to those families. A lot of what we do is try to retain them as foster parents as well. So sometimes we'll have foster parent appreciation events for the relatives as well. And then we try to sponsor the kiddos for Christmas. So that's another thing we do for
so you're giving
families.
still some support there.
Yeah, and they can also, like, if they need something random, we try to see what we can do to provide that specifically.
And then your
to
next
that.
level would be somebody more of a traditional foster care home. They're not going to family. They're going to somebody that's been screened and prepared and
Yes.
equipped for this. Give me an idea of, we talked about that process. It takes some time.
It does.
And there's a whole kind of training support system, both pre and I guess in the transition and then during the process.
Yeah, so if you want to become a traditional foster parent, you are matched with a licensing worker, and then you work with that person from beginning to end throughout the entire process. That, as we mentioned, could take around 3 to 6 months. Some of that depends on how quickly people get all their documents together and get their trainings done and things like that. And then after that, we would start to call you with our placement needs.
Okay.
And then you would get a foster child.
We
in your
learned that
home.
there are 19,000 children in foster care through Illinois, not necessarily through LSSI, but you guys have just last year served 2,600 kids, but there's 19,000 in. So give me an idea here. Now, some people listening to this show are in other parts of this country, a lot of them, so they're not in Illinois. Is the DCFS process, is there a similarness in other states? Would they start the same process, call an organization like you, or do they? If somebody's in Missouri or they're in Indiana, what is a starting point for them? I know you're not familiar with everybody's rules and stuff. Give me an idea.
I think it's a similar starting point. They would find an agency and they can just call them or look at their website, and oftentimes.
And there are a lot of agencies. I mean, in the state of Illinois, like LSSI, there are some other agencies.
Yeah.
What are the kind of agencies out there? They would look for Lutheran Social Services. Is there a Lutheran Social Services of Missouri?
No.
Is it unique to Illinois?
I don't.
I think LSSI is unique to Illinois, but
Because that's why it's called LSSI.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I just wondered if there were other
But
branches
there are other child welfare agencies that are like private agencies.
that are similar to that, and the same in the state as well. But you guys serve in 42 of the counties.
Yes, we're all
I don't
over
know
the
how
place.
many counties there are in Illinois. Anybody know?
Don't know.
I mean, it's a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
But you guys,
At least 42.
Yes.
and Zach, you were saying you travel as far here up. You said Salem, or
As far up as Salem and as low down as Caro.
wow, you can't get any farther.
Right.
You get farther than that, you're in Missouri.
If the kids are in the river, we're too late.
You're too late. You're too late. Yeah, they're going down the river. So that's a pretty wide swath.
Yeah.
Of people, and then so we learned that there's just a lot of demand, and every foster home you have, some of them will have. Once you get them in, they're going to say, "Well, we want babies," or
Yes.
everybody wants a baby.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody wants a baby.
It's true.
Very few people go, "Can I have that 16-year-old difficult child?"
Right.
That's well ingrained and tough. But maybe you get a few that do that because their kids are that age.
There are a few foster homes that they only want to foster teenagers and only for like a couple of nights. So they'll just have a teenager while we're looking for other placement, and they'll just take them in for a night.
I have a family that was connected to our church here that does foster care, and they want children within 2 years of their youngest kid.
Yeah.
So that they fit into their family tree. So
yeah.
their oldest is 10. They'll take somebody kind of under their 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But they don't. They said they don't want somebody older than their oldest. They want to keep that structure.
I hear that a lot, actually.
I know.
Want
So
to keep
every
a
house
certain, like,
you run into a
hierarchy.
lot of that where
People are very
they
specific.
need like I don't know the word prenuptial. What was the word you called parentified? But no, we need a word for like foster nupple.
That's not
It's
the
just
word
their
you're looking
preferences.
for.
You know, like we have prenuptials, we have foster nupple. Nuptial. I got that wrong. Sorry about that. We'll have to edit. It was the Russians.
I need a bleeper for you.
Yeah, we need to be. You got music, but you don't have a beeper. Yeah, like a foster nuptial. Like so, you have
an
those.
agreement, right?
Yeah, so
Do you have to go look through those, like their contracts, and see?
it's not that set in stone, but they do tell us. We ask them what their preferences are, and then we get a lot of specific preferences, which does make it hard to place children a lot of the time. But usually, your worker knows what your preferences are. So we'll need placement for a child, and as an office, we're like, okay, well, we know this person won't and that person won't, but it would be right for that home. Like,
Is that part of the home study?
it's a part of the home study, and just basically throughout the entire process, we're asking them.
The
Because it
process.
is important.
And then Beth's sister, she's gone to be with the Lord. She lived long life, 60, but she's Down syndrome. So you could get families that have Down syndrome or special needs children. I see that in your notes. That can even be harder to place.
Oh,
It
yeah.
requires parents that are better equipped to manage that. So do you run into that a lot, where there's a learning disability or something significant, and you got to find a placement that can manage that on top of the trauma?
Yes.
Because everybody's got the trauma. Now you've got
Exactly.
another need, and that requires some more attention. So.
Definitely. We have a lot of children who are diagnosed with ADHD or autism or exhibiting symptoms of either of those. Those are just kind of a couple of the main ones. And we desperately need homes that are equipped to take those children on and for the long term, because, it does require more. Sometimes it's more doctor's appointments. Sometimes it's just more patients. It's just more routine.
Is there
and that
more
kind of thing.
support when you take on a child that's got maybe some other challenges, even beyond the challenges they have?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a good support network to help with that at all? If the child comes with those disabilities, I'm assuming there's some sort of medical care that comes with it. Are the families able to add them to their own care immediately?
They
I don't know how that
have their
works.
own medical care. Like they have.
While they're in
that's-
the process, there's coverage.
Yeah, when you're a youth in care, you have your own medical care.
That's good.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's so if you're out there, you're not gonna it's not gonna affect your insurance and say because
Right.
now if you adopted the child or brought the care to a permanent home, then they become part of the household. That changes.
I think they still have
They
care.
still have care.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know what. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Mercedes, yeah. So for a long
if,
time.
If a child has very specialized medical care or emotional care, there's a process that goes through DCFS, and the children are in a category of being, specialized. So their stipend, which the state will pay a certain amount of money for each foster child. But when there are special needs, and let's say the child needs to be in specialized appointments, going to doctors, let's say in St. Louis or
Rehab or treatment or
so that is a process that some houses are specialized to deal with certain cases, and that's where the kids would go. But they have been trained for that. They would be receiving more support in that way.
that's good.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to hear that. I didn't. Those are
Yeah,
things I
because
didn't.
even my
learn.
sister was on her own.
Yeah, that's right. She was on
medical care.
SSI,
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah,
she?
she was
Yeah.
on SSI.
Even and even a 60-year-old with Down syndrome with a 7-year-old heart. She was so
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
She was my favorite person. So, gosh, I miss her a lot. So you never know. A special needs child out there can sometimes
Oh, yeah.
they give special gifts back too. So
Yeah.
there are challenges like that. So. But there's a need for that. I also see in your notes that you do a thing called a mentorship program. We're trying to get a mentorship program off the ground. What does that look like? What are you doing with mentors?
So we're trying to get this mentorship program rolling, and what we would like is to have individuals that just want to mentor, obviously, and they are matched with an at-risk youth. So someone who has maybe had some difficulty keeping placements, or if they're just having a rough go of keeping interactions smooth in the household. And the mentor is just a person to have positive interaction with. Like, it's someone that they don't have to talk to about the case unless they wanted to. And the idea is to just have contact with them throughout the month and to at least see them person to person once a month. And that could be for something as simple as going to the park, taking a walk, anything like that. So it's just really to
Just some
give them
time
another
to be,
support.
to be. Somebody that's kind of just it's a little bit
Someone
more of a
more
big brother, big
neutral.
sister program,
Yeah, that's what I
mentor
was gonna
type
say,
program.
kind of a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
brother, big
I love
sister.
that. And then you've got a couple other levels too. Yeah, I noticed in your notes you talk about respite and also short-term placements and also emergency foster homes. Now, you
Yes.
told me there on the spectrum there's still the same qualifications. You got to check things out.
Yes.
But these are different levels of care or shorter terms. Tell me about the foster care emergency program and the respite and the short-term programs.
Okay, so if you become licensed to be a traditional foster home, you can do respite, which means if there's some kind of emergency, like if someone is going into the hospital or something like that, then you can take care of the youth in care for that period of time. Being an emergency foster home, there's like two things that we're calling an emergency foster home right now, but you can be an emergency foster home and only take children if their placement has blown, so to speak. So they're being taken from their home, from their foster home, and we have nowhere to place them yet. Right. So you might be called, in the middle of the night, hey, can you keep this kid just while we're looking for a placement? And you would only do it.
Interim.
Yes.
family.
You would only do it while we're looking for other placement. It's not long term.
Right.
And that would keep the child out of the office, which we had mentioned before.
Yeah, we gotta getting in the book here.
Yeah.
Okay, in the office, I want to know. I've got this note. I'm reading this stuff. I'm being prepped for the show, and it says here that if they don't have the families that you need to place, you can't find a relative family to. You might have to keep them at the office, or they have to go with Zach all the time.
Exactly. Well, we can't tell them, hey, hold on a minute. just wait.
You
Then
need to go back to that situation and just be
Can't do
abused
that.
and be hurt. So we've got to get the child out, right? So now they're in like limbo.
Yes.
Yes.
Limbo. So do you have like barracks at your office?
So that's the thing, is that we don't have barracks at the office. We have a visitation room. There's a couch. We don't have showers. We don't have a real kitchen. So the child is basically stuck in a room around the clock, while staff also has to be there around the clock.
And they're exposed to what all else is going on too.
So we have 2 people that need to be there at all times to make sure that
Right.
kids are safe and being
Protect.
treated
Yeah.
well.
And 2 adults.
Protect
I
the
understand.
adults and the children.
We don't send youth anywhere in this church without 2 adults with them.
And then they end up showering over at the hub.
Yeah.
And we have to accommodate meals.
Which that
and
whole
bringing food in and
process is
taking
just
them out.
enhancing and lengthening the trauma experience.
It's so sad.
Some kids are going like, well, it sounds like a fun experience to hang out with Zach.
Well,
Zach
the
and-
last time we were there, they were telling us, I wish I had a family like you guys, like to the workers. Like they were telling us that while we were
No,
there.
I can
we
see
were in a
that.
case
I can see
together.
that. I can see that.
too.
Yeah.
It could be a relief, and it's a good thing that you're doing that. You're not just, but we don't think about the fact that a child's got to be out, and there's no place for them to go.
Literally nowhere.
So
And they're in an office building.
And they're in an office building.
Yeah.
And is that something that happens once a decade, or is
No,
that
it is not
Yeah.
infrequent.
It's not infrequent?
About every 6 weeks. I mean, about once a month or sometimes more.
You're going to get somebody on that.
And that's just in our office.
And that means you don't have an emergency home available. You don't have this available. And if you look at the numbers, the numbers are huge in our state. Is our state worse? I'm gonna get to you. Is our state worse than the other 49? Or we lose as Illinois? We lose in almost every category. Us in New York and California, we got highest taxes. We got all kinds of issues. But do we win in this? Or do we do better per capita? Or are we horrible?
I don't know. Mom.
Yeah, I don't
you know?
have the numbers for that, but I think, child welfare is very complex. And if you go to states that are more, there are more people, there are more things that are going to happen, and the need for, there are other places that are also, if you are living farther from each other, you are not going to be known.
So you just want to know about it.
Well,
exactly.
A lot of missed children and a lot of
There's the statistics and then there's the reality.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you might have a certain number of reported cases. You have a lot of kids that aren't coming into care.
Yeah,
that
you're a
might
kid in the
need
backside
to.
of Montana. Nobody will even know you're screaming in the night.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. So Zach, do you think this is just you could find this problem going across America anywhere?
I think you can find this problem going across the world. I think it's very recently that we've begun to realize that children have inherent rights.
Oh, wow.
I think that's
Now,
relatively new.
you used a term, a very big. My wife.
Wait a minute, I have a
Go ahead.
question first before this is kind of off. But we found a baby once that somebody left at our church.
Left the
doorstep.
baby for me, newborn. Cord still on the baby.
So do you get that very often? Do you get abandoned newborns very often?
Left on the doorstep. Said, "Pastor, would you take care of this baby?" I have no idea who it was.
Not mostly. We get newborns taken from their mothers at the hospital, but not so much just
Not
babies
abandoned.
found.
The mother had the baby, brought the baby, wrapped him up, put a can of formula there. Cord was still on. Baby's still bloody. Left him on my doorstep
Left on the church doorstep
and took off. And I had
and left a note.
That's intense.
left a note, said, "Pastor, I
can't
trust,
take care of my
I trust
baby,
you
would
to
you?"
come up with a decision."
Wow.
And so we
That's
took
more
her
than a
over to the
personal
hospital.
problem. That's a community
that's
problem.
a community problem.
Yeah.
We scooped the baby up. Beth was next door. I hollered her. We went to the hospital, which was right across the street, just to get the baby checked out, and had the baby checked out immediately and all this stuff.
And they did an investigation.
They saw a picture of her at Walmart buying the formula. She loves her baby enough that she bought the baby formula, bought a clean blanket, wrapped the baby up. And, some mom had just had this, so she couldn't have been feeling good. No. So, the decision to have to give up your child and I mean postpartum, that couldn't be good. So they found a picture of her going through the line, but her face was obstructed. It wasn't the day of digital. This was 20 years ago. So it went nowhere. They couldn't come up with anybody. So
But
they
the
don't know
baby
if-
was
it was in
adopted.
Olney, Illinois. I was in Olney, Illinois. And I was, so I got the baby over there. So we get over there. We're taking care of the baby. There's this long note about, trusting me to take care of the child. And I'm like, great. How many kids do we have at the time? 2, 3, 3?
3.
I'm like, oh man, we'll just fit them right in. So we were already planning maybe to have another child, and so we just started calling her Megan, and my youngest daughter's Megan. So that was going to be our next child's name. So we just yeah, we're not. I get to the hospital, it's like Jane Doe number 12. And I was, no, guys, we're not doing that. We're going to go with Megan. We're going to give her a name. They said they brought her to the church. So I'll tell you this is a good story. But we were in the ER. They're doing all their thing, and they said, well, we got to call DCFS. We need to let them know. I said, okay, that's cool. So the DCF woman was on her way, and she got there and was talking to some people up front, and she said, well, we're going to take the child and we're going to get this going on. And it was kind of like one of your not a bad story, but they said, well, she's a really tough one, she's going to. And I said, no, this child was given to I said, we're going to dedicate this child to the Lord because the mom left her with us. And I heard the DCF woman say, no, they're not. She didn't know Alani and my nurses there. So the nurses said, come on around here. We're going to take you around. And in the meantime, I walk back around and one of the nurses hands me a pan of water and says, Pastor, get your business done. So we had a little dedication service for the child, and I thought, well, the parent had left her with us for a reason, so we had a little just a service for her there, and that's where we dedicated the Lord. I couldn't dedicate Jane Doe number 12, so we decided to be Megan. We do know she was adopted finally by a family that would be in the next community we go to 30 miles away. They kept her name Megan, and she's grown and got a great family and had a great life. So
awesome, good story.
But I just wondered how many of those, if you guys see that very often.
Do you see that? Babies, they have places now where they have the baby boxes.
Right.
I know that's popular now, where you can come to a fire station or a police station. So do you ever get that in Southern Illinois?
I've never personally.
I haven't either.
But
I haven't.
I got it, but I know in the cities now they'll have those at fire stations, and they have the boxes where you can put them in and that. So we don't see a lot of that. What's a typical reason? Give us your 3 or 4 top reasons
for children coming into care.
How you're going to get how's that day going to occur in a lot of. We're not trying to make this generic because every child is different and every case is different.
Thank you.
But what are the trigger points though that would trigger that call? What's normal for you to hear? And then give us a couple things maybe that are extraordinary too.
Well, my experience through the years, it has. So if it is a newborn, most of the times it's going to happen because of substance abuse, and the child is born substance exposed. That's what the term is used. The child is born with some, exposed to drugs. They test positive at birth. So that's going to, the hospital call the hotline. The other thing that happens sometimes if the parent is already involved with DCFS and that the child's birth, a call is made depending on how the parent has progressed towards. I feel like in the, the past really 10 years, there are a lot of cases that are related to substance abuse, addiction,
particularly meth.
Meth, yes, that's the main.
Is that the worst, or is it just the most available in this region? Is it
unfortunately both?
Or most devastating?
So I knew very little about this substance before taking on this job, but it came up so regularly that I wanted to educate myself on it. And apparently, meth is easy to obtain because it's cheap and plentiful. And a lot of people that I've spoken to in my cases end up using it either recreationally or as like a performance enhancement. I had a dad tell me the other day, I thought I was doing good. I was able to work 2 jobs. I didn't have to sleep. I was able to make more money and take care of my family.
Right.
But things just got out of control.
Yeah.
And it's not the only
because
time
it
I've
is
heard
extraordinarily addictive.
Yes.
So it starts off as an issue to boost somebody's ability, almost like rich people. When you go to school and you're trying to go through law exams, you get your doctor to prescribe Adderall.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So for the poor person, that could be done to do, trying to keep 2 jobs, or they're dealing with chronic pain and they're not getting the medicine. They don't have access to medicine. So they're self-medicating with whatever drug. Mm-hmm. Right. So some of that it starts with legitimate purposes.
There are a lot of reasons, but part of it's the availability. Part of it is that it's relatively cheaper than other drugs.
But it's a devastating drug.
It wrecks people's brains. So it causes your brain to release 10 to 40 times as much dopamine as it normally would. And then it fries the dopamine receptors, which kind of in a way, inhibits people from experiencing pleasure without using the drug. And so you've got that element, and then you've got the performance enhancing abilities, and then you also have sleep psychosis because people will stay up for days and days
For days and
days.
And that's where it starts to get really bad, and you get these really chaotic, erratic,
And they lose
dangerous
control of
situations.
their faculties.
And that's so when I'm talking to families, I'm seeing substance abuse, particularly meth, and then the next one that I see most commonly is domestic violence.
Now,
Neighbors are at it again. The cops get called.
Now,
It's coming
the
to care.
domestic violence. Let me ask a question about that because I think it's good. I think I see that a lot as well. But that a lot of times the triggers behind that can be alcohol. It seems to me like we watched a couple shows where they just follow the police around, and it seems like 80% of the cases involves alcohol.
A lot.
I mean, it just changes the mindset. And then if you put meth on top of that, I mean, but I'm talking about alcohol seems to affect a lot of the anger, a lot of the fights, a lot of the things that happen. It seems to be a gateway thing. It's one thing to have a recreational drink. It's another thing to become a functional. And then somewhere in that process, there's a schism where you become unfunctional. So you're saying on the spectrum for meth, the line between functional and functionality gets clear. The drug itself will fog that line. So what you thought was you're in control of, you soon don't have control of.
That's what I'm hearing reported from the clients. Yeah. At first, it's helping a lot, and then it ruins your life.
Rosemary, you're a young lady here. You're a mom at this table.
Yeah.
Have you seen the scene of drugs and what's going on? Because they had cocaine going on in the 70s, and people have been doing drugs and heroin's even coming back. Now, and now heroin laced with other stuff. Do you see a big change in that now? Is that increased? Is that one of your concerns too?
It's very interesting. When I started in the field, one of the first things that I started noticing was the amount of medication people were taking.
Prescribed. It can even be prescribed. Right.
Yes. Yeah. And that when the whole opioid abuse was starting, but it had not been yet, in the news or anything like that. But I had clients prescribed a slew of medications. They would come to meetings sometimes and they were drooling. I had at least 2 moms die of overdoses during that period, and it for me was like, what is going on here? So that moved to the meth abuse.
Alternative substances, as they begin to quash a lot of opiates and back off that. And that doesn't change the fact that people are either in pain, chronic pain, or their pain receptors have been damaged so much by the abuse that you don't know whether you're in pain or not in pain. So now you've got people looking to self-medicate legally or illegally. And so that's very interesting. So you've seen that there's a lot of people in medicine.
Yes. But, again, we go back to the what has kind of, if you can find an origin for that cycle, it is, again, most of the history. When you are listening to people's history, there is a lot of trauma exposure. There's a lot of people that were sexually abused, things that were never addressed in a effective way.
The medication, the drugs, the other things becomes forms of self-medication and suppression.
Yes, mental health,
which doesn't really deal
yeah.
with the issue. It creates
No.
a new set of problems.
Yeah.
So the next thing you know, they're in that, and things in your mind, you've lost your mind. Now you're in more trouble. You're not sleeping. You're not making worse decisions. So you get almost a cataclysmic snowball effect, don't you?
And it's like I mentioned in the last episode of not everyone who's using drugs, not all of them are going to have kids that come into care. And that's true, and we know that. And part of drug use is normalized, and you can think what you want about that, but the use of meth should not be normalized. And I've had a client even say to me, oh yeah, my dad uses it, but just enough to keep him right, was what they said.
No.
So
And
it's
that's
become very
there's a
normalized
cliff
in this
there
region.
somewhere.
There is. And some people can stay on that ledge, and they can use that drug, and it can help their life, but it doesn't help your life. It's not something that we can accept in our society. This is a dangerous
we
drug.
will look critical, and I'm saying this, we will look quickly critical at the drug abuser, but then we'll be on Adderall, we'll be on this or this. So we got to quit looking from like our arrogance. We got to realize that we're kind of a wounded, damaged society right now.
Exactly.
You know,
Yes.
and
these
people
need
use
compassion
different
and
levels.
services.
And we've really got what's bad is we've not learned how to cope. We've lost a lot of our
Yes.
coping mechanisms.
Absolutely.
Parentified. My wife said the best word she's heard in a long time was parentified. You use that. Help us understand today that a lot of the problems that we're seeing is because children have been forced to raise themselves, raise their own siblings. And that's sometimes that's a redeeming thing, because thank God somebody cared. But sometimes the parentified child is not the parent. And so they're doing the best they can, but then there's further issues. You guys get called in because kids are living alone. They're managing themselves. They're not making great decisions. So how do you see that happening today? What's the role in working with that and helping transition? If somebody's been parentified, it's going to be very difficult as they go into a foster care thing. And now a parent exerts their parentified, you can have a clash of the parents.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that is a common thing to happen in children in new homes, because they were the ones making certain decisions for their little brothers. Now they have to become a child again, and they don't know how to do that.
It's hard.
And they don't know to
Right.
trust the person that they've come to, because they
Right.
think, hey, I'm the only one that's been able to hold this together.
Because the last
for my
person that was a
family
parent or
unit.
family member abused them, sold
Yeah.
them, trafficked them, was hard to them, or just abandoned them.
Yeah.
So it's going to take time. And we talked about that in the first episode. We talked about that in the show we did the shows on the Restore Network, that it takes time to recover that. The trauma is tremendous.
Yes.
And it's not just the trauma from the night you're called.
No.
That's not even, that's like the volcano top.
Yeah.
But underneath there, it's like the iceberg that hit the Titanic. They said, 10% on top, 90% on the bottom. There's a lot under there. When you start mining that, who mines that out? Oh, time does. I mean, when the child goes in, you're going to start doing some interviews, Rosemary, and you're going to talk to them, but you're not going to get all that out in just those interviews. You're going to get a sense of it. Is there a process once a child goes into the program and they're with their people? Is there going to be more counseling, more opportunity to go deeper with that and with the parents?
So that's one of the things. But children are going to be referred to counseling, except that counseling, well, I am a therapist as well. So counseling is not something, it is something that you engage with your therapist and you are there alone, except that if the foster parents or the parents of that child are not as well engaged in that process, they are not going to learn. So the kid has a once a week therapy appointment, then they go back to the foster home. But if the foster parent has no understanding of what that process is all about, or they don't understand how to address, let's say that the kid that, Hannah mentioned about a bedtime, let's say that they impose that in a way that worked for their kids, but let's say that they have a child that's going to feel that in a different way because of many, because they were parentified, maybe because they sleeping was always the time of crisis in their household, so they cannot sleep well. So if the foster parent also does not have that support, that understanding, well, therapy can go so far.
Right.
So yes, the child is going to be in the foster care program. Yes, we refer kids to.
But they're not all necessarily in therapy, even if, it really would benefit them. So sometimes they're just not in services.
If the parents feel like the foster parents feel like they need that, do they have access to the resources to do that?
Yeah,
If
they
feel-
should be able
They
to.
should be able to.
And also, they should be in a perfect world. And I have a case right now that there's 8, 9 kids. So try to get 8, 9 kids to school, to their doctor's appointments, to their therapy appointments, to
bus.
the visits with their parents, and have your own life and work. So we have a lot of ideas of what services we would like to provide, but then logistically doing that is
the
incredibly
sheer number is
challenging.
almost impossible, right?
In a way that's hard to understand.
I mean,
unless
at 8,
right
you're
next
moving
to it.
beyond basketball team to football team. I mean, it's like a serious. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, and now you're having to platoon things.
And it happens.
It does.
In this field, it happens.
On a sort of practical note about just the boundaries that, and the conflicts I hear about it in foster homes, a child will be placed in a home and they're immediately told, this is bedtime, this is, wake time, you can't do
Here are
this,
the
you
house
can't
rules.
do this, da-da-da-da-da. And no one has gotten to even know the child yet. So I think it's really important
What time do you normally go to bed, young?
Yeah,
learning what they're used to.
Asking the children
Yeah,
what they
Get
need.
what are
to
you
know
used
them.
to? We go to bed at this time. You go to bed. At this time. Well, let's work together and kind of
Become friends first
Yeah,
before
right,
you're like
yeah.
completely, laying down the law.
Right.
Do they come out? Do you have a lot of families when you bring them in? They say, "Here are the 10 Commandments
It feels like
of the
that.
household."
Well, I think that there is a disconnect because obviously, parents are taught how important it is to set boundaries,
Yes.
to
Yes.
raise good.
But a lot of people think the problem of these kids is that they've never had a good parent and tell them what
Yeah.
to do. But the problem is they didn't get there that way. They're the victim of a bad situation. So to even recognize you're trying to help them is going to take some time.
But before a child, is ready to accept boundaries with your own children, you have developed bond and attachment. You
Definitely.
cannot set the rules before you have that connection.
That's right.
When our babies cry, we go tend them.
And even when even when you have good rapport, even you have good boundaries, even your best kids and your best grandkids will let you down. My granddaughter Ezra, she's just she's close to 2. She's coming up on 2 right now, like next month. And so we go to the pool. We're at the Heron pool, and she gets out of the baby pool. We're in the baby pool. Grandparents stay out where we take her out, and she gets up and starts walking to the. You guys been to the Heron pool? There's a gate that goes out to the bigger pool, and she's walking to the gate, and I'm saying, no, don't go toward the gate. Grandpa's not a dad anymore. I don't run that fast out of water. I need a moment to get the knees moving. And she's looking like, will I go? Will I go? Am I going to stay? Boom, she's going because she sees the slide. So I'm coming up out of the pool water trying to come. I do not look like David Hasselhoff in Baywatch. I'm not running pretty. It's ugly. I'm going around the gate and I'm hollering for people. Somebody stop her. Some dude steps right in front of her. This is not the first time. She's looked at me the last couple times and gives me that look. Well, I'm going to try you, Grandpa. And I don't think she's a bad child. She's just looking to see. She honestly wants me to chase her.
Right. That's not the moment where you call Hannah and say, "Hey, I need
Hannah,
a placement."
I want you to take this child. This child is
I
disrespectful.
can't take it anymore.
No, you're only getting porridge.
Yeah.
Children, even your best, and Ezra loves me, and she's just testing it.
Sure.
Sometimes they want to know how much they're loved. Are you willing to run after them?
She wanted to see how fast you were.
Do you notice? And I'm still injured from that other day. So I'm like, you could see her face calculating it. She's a runner. Yeah. Boom, she's running.
That's a really good point, though. You say, she wants to know how much you love her.
Well,
Because
I come get
also,
her.
when children are in these foster homes and they're kind of pushing these boundaries, they're like,
this
especially people
real?
who have been removed before, they're like, are you going to kick me out?
Are you people real?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it can look good. That you draw up to the house, it's got the classic house, looks nice, our house. But behind that can be problems too. Because
Anything.
you take people out of those houses too, right? They've had domestic battery, they've hit each other. There's been stuff going on, they're whatever. So you don't have to have a rough neighborhood to have a DCFS involved with
Yeah.
a child thing. It can happen anywhere. So the kid comes thinking, yeah, I know what happens at these houses because kids talk too. They know other kids.
That is
right?
true.
Right?
Yep.
They do, and so they need to build trust and rapport.
Yes.
Even at a young age.
Yeah, trust. The idea that we need to earn a child's trust is important.
do you think-
and it's foreign to a lot of people.
And you said the parent,
Yeah.
the parental side, they're going to be a little tougher
yes.
because they're going to be a little more skeptic too. They're like, yeah. I know
Well,
you-"
when they've become parentified, a lot of times it's they have lost the trust of authority and they've lost the
And they
trust
took
of
over.
adults. And yes, and they've taken over and they've shut a lot of that down.
So now you're trying to take my crown.
Yeah.
Not so easy, big boy. You're going to have to earn this.
Yeah.
So
Do you make an effort to keep kids together if there's
Siblings?
when you can.
And they're required to have time together, even if they are placed
Even if they're
separately. That's part of what I do in my.
Does
job
that
is
happen at your
providing
desk as well? Like
Hopefully not.
hopefully not.
It should occur in the most home-like setting possible.
You
that
can
we
see
go for,
these
which is
guys.
not the
You guys are superheroes. I think you're doing great.
Yeah.
I'm going to play a video real quick, and then we're going to do a few more things. And I got Rosemary's toughest question of the day. I've not even got to you yet. I'm going
What's
to
the
unwind all.
surprise?
I'm get maybe all y'all's question. We'll see. But you guys get substance exposed children. I've never. That's new for me. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've learned parentified. That's a new word for me. My vocabulary is bigger today. My headphones, I'm going to adjust them. But let me play this video. This is on traditional. This is from your website. If you can go watch this yourself, go to LSI. lssi.org foster care, and when you go to that page, that QR code, this video will be the second one in the queue. You may be out there and you're not going to be family here, but you may want to go through the process. You may want to reach out to the office here, foster a child at lssi.org. Email them and tell them you want to talk to Hannah. Just tell them you want to talk to
Do
Hannah.
it.
Or her friend. Yeah, hey, listen, if somebody in the next, when their show broadcasts, somebody reaches out to Hannah and they say, Pastor Troy said, call her. We'll give them a mug too.
They get a mug.
You get a mug.
Put it
Now,
on the
I
list.
don't ever send the mugs. Donna does. So just let Donna know.
We need to order some.
We're going to need some more mugs. Yeah, we will find mugs for you if you're willing to step up and go through the process at any level. So go there, find out how to do it, talk to them, get a conversation with them, and start the process. But watch this. I thought this was a great little video that we're going to look at on traditional foster parents give children a safe home. Think about whether you would have what it would take, you and your family, to give somebody an opportunity of hope to kind of step up and maybe foster a child. So check it out. Don't make a rash decision, but make a good decision. And check this out.
My name is Michelle Allen.
My name is Derek Allen, and we foster parent through LSSI.
We are licensed foster parents, and then when there's a need, a child coming into care, then we get the call. Traditional foster care is what we are licensed as, so we don't know the children that are coming into our home. We never went into foster care to adopt. We went in just because we saw the need. We had 2 biological children. We never said we wouldn't adopt it, but that wasn't our goal. But here we are. Now we're going to have 6 children.
As a teacher, I've been teaching for 17 years now, and almost every year I have at least 1 or 2 kids that I come home and tell her about that you just feel for them and you just see a need.
We've been foster parents for about 5 years, actually over 5 years now, and we've had 15 children in our home during that time. Each of them comes with a different story and a different, so you get to learn them. From the beginning, LSSI, the licensing worker, Bob, he was like, you can do this, he reassured us.
The Allen family is a family that I was very excited when they decided to come on board. I kind of call them my go-to family because they are willing to do anything I ask of them. They jumped right in. They were willing to take just about any child I called them about. They really made some significant impacts in the lives of some of those biological parents whose children that they were taking care of.
Throughout the whole process, we've had some amazing caseworkers. They help drive it because there are days that you're just like, I can't do this. I had expectations and it was hard, and they're so great. They're just there to support you and support the family and maintain that.
And they're really good with offering a lot of trainings. They were able to come to our house and do a training here with a group of foster parents, so that they came from all the way from Rockford to here and just made it more easier access for all of us to do a training all together. The amount of support that they've had over our 5 years has just been wonderful.
It's hard, but every single one of them has touched our lives, and I believe every minute that they're with us, we're touching their lives.
Don't let the fears stop you from doing it, because there's a benefit. You're going to benefit the child and you're going to benefit yourself. Even if it's for a short time, the love that you pass on to them and just the stability will go a long ways, more than you will ever know. LSSI is there to back you up with any questions that you ever might have, and even if you just need someone to talk to, you can call our caseworker and that day of, and just give you any points, any tips that she can offer you or he. They're our future. That's our future generation, to give them the skills to better themselves and to go out and be a successful human being.
It's one of the most important things that I can imagine, to take a child from an abusive or neglectful situation and give them your home.
It's so important to invest in children on all levels. Kids need love and they need trust as they get older. They need those 2 things, and that foundation will guide them for the rest of their lives. Ultimately, doing foster care will change your life for the better. It's hard. It's a lot of sleepless nights. It's stressful. I can't say that we don't ever yell or, we're perfect, because we're not. But ultimately, it has been the best thing that we've ever decided to do. And we have great people. And LSSI has made it so much easier to do that.
Best thing they've ever done, but one of the hardest things they've ever done. Isn't that true, though?
Usually goes together.
That goes together. Just great story there. Really think about that. Okay, you ready for your hard question? The one thing I've learned, you get to learn them. I thought that was a great story.
Yeah, that was
really
a great
nice.
statement.
That's kind of what we're talking about. Get to know the kid, get to learn them, and then maybe you know, when you meet with them, Rosemary, and you meet with the family, you kind of look at the situation, you kind of chart a plan. You know, maybe you get to know them and then chart a plan.
Right.
And don't just kind of work it together. Families are kind of built day by day, not Jiffy Pop popcorn. They don't just get pop quick. No JG Wentworth.
Oh my
God. Yeah. Go to slnt.com / a promo code OTD, and you won't get JG Wentworth commercials. Here's my question: doing this, Rosemary. How long have you been doing this?
Close to 20 years.
Yeah.
I was a
20 years.
caseworker. I was
So you've been in the care.
therapist for children and parents, and now I'm doing the clinical.
And you hear
screening.
the good, the bad, the uglier,
Yeah.
You see some success stories. You've been doing it long enough now that you've seen kids come all the way through, and you've probably seen do you ever get to see them come back later, or you see them down the road, or?
I have had different experiences, and I want to say, I was telling you about that I have lost clients. One of the biological mothers that died in my caseload, she had 3 little girls, and these girls were, were adopted. So about maybe 2 weeks ago, I went to meet one of one of the daughters. I got in touch with her. She has a little son now. She is one of the best moms. I just wanted to meet with her because she did not have any memories of her biological mom. Her mother died of one overdose when she was not even 3 years old. And I sat with her and I said, I want to tell you some of the memories that I have with your mom and the love that she had for you.
That's great.
She had a disease, but I also witnessed her love for you. So that for me was a pivotal moment because, she said, I often wondered why my mom, because now she has a baby, and she says, I don't know why she chose, to use drugs. And I said that at that point was no longer a choice for her. It was something very difficult because of her drugs. So we had a wonderful conversation. And so, it's kind of, you see that cycle. I have seen foster parents, and I want to talk more about that part because foster parents, I feel, can be a play a crucial, vital role in the lives of these children at this moment of need. I had a foster parent that was way in the boonies, and she had this little baby placed with her. The baby was African American. She was like the whitest lady that you could ever imagine. Blue eyes. She taught me a lot. She would take pictures of the baby's crib. Mom was at the time, the baby's mom was incarcerated. She would send pictures to the mom and say, do you like this? Do you like this in the crib? What would you like me to place around the baby's crib? The pictures.
Oh, that's great.
She would take that baby to the African American church.
Wow.
For him. She said, these are his, it's part of his culture. I want him to grow up knowing his culture. So, I don't know if that baby was ever adopted in that home or not, but what I'm saying is foster care can be hard, it can be difficult, but also it is a very important role, and it is I admire the girls that are training our foster parents because they are trying to get them to understand this big role that they will play in the life of a child. Sometimes one of the things that the lady said in that tape, that she had expectations, and those expectations have to become, look at the reality and see what the reality is, and then go one day at a time. Not all foster homes need to look like that.
No, that's really nice foster home. I want to move there.
Right.
Hannah, can you place me there? I want the boat.
I want to mention, just before we get too far away from topic, another option for fostering is we are doing a pilot program for emergency foster homes. And so what that program is that the foster parent gets paid like a flat monthly rate. They also get the stipend, but it's like a different rate for doing this program. And it's basically committing to keeping a child in your home for 30 days while that child gains stability and services. So like if we have a youth in care that has been bouncing around, part of the issue is they can't get any services in place because they're not in a stable home. So if you became licensed as an emergency foster home, then you would just be committing to having a child in your home for that 30 days while they get set up.
Yeah, I like that.
And so it's an option that's can be super impactful and helpful.
And gives you time to really work through a situation and make a better solution.
Yep. Yeah. So before anybody can say, you know, I can't take it, they got to get out. It's like, nope, we have this 30 days to get you stable. So I think it's a really
and it lets
awesome
the services
program.
catch up because
Exactly.
some of the stuff moves a little slow. I mean, it just does.
It does.
Legal system, medical system. We all know you.
It's all stretched.
The doctor says,
Everybody's
"I'll see you.
overworked.
You're dying." Doctor says, "I'll see you in 3 weeks." I got my schedule. Dentist, you got a root canal. I'll see you in a month.
Right.
You know, that's society. At the same time, the child's still in crisis.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you got a special kind of foster program for that. Still got to be cleared. Still got to be trained, but it's a different type of role.
Right.
There are people that are a little more. Let me say this I don't know how to say this in a way. There's some people that are task oriented and people oriented. You know, there's two spectrums. So if somebody's a little more project oriented, being that 30-day respite is a different role because you got a task to do.
Yeah.
The task is a person, so you got to see the person in it, but it gives them. They can wrap that up and then move to the next task. Sometimes that better engages some people that are that. So people
Right.
be tasker people, they're structured or unstructured. If you're on that spectrum of being task orientated and a little more structured, maybe you could be that place.
And there is a lot more structure.
It's
to
more like
that
an
program.
ER. It would be like an ER or
Exactly.
trauma stabilization specialist.
Exactly.
And you're so that more because the system itself could put more damage on.
Well, and it changes the expectation as well.
It
Like
does.
that lady said about her expectations. If you know that you are kind of like the front line of this is a crisis and we need you to be committed and strong for this for 30 days, then you're going into it thinking, okay, this might be rough, but we're going to get through it together instead of, oh my goodness, it's too tough. Get me out of this.
Right. They
Right.
know it's not
Right.
forever.
Yeah.
Right.
So I let me get back to my question on Rosemary. You guys have been in this a while. Hannah, how long you been doing this now? Are you new in this? Been doing this for a while now?
I think I've only been in child welfare for what, like 3 years?
3 years. So you guys are seeing stuff. You're seeing. How many cases are you handling right now, Zach? And your caseload normally?
Right now, I've got about 8 or 9.
8 or 9, and so I would say you've had more in that last year or two. So some of those are going to be managed. You're going to move some of them on. You're going to get new cases.
All the time. So,
the time.
in the role that I have, I'm doing just really the visitation between the parents and the children. And that changes, and hopefully we move to a place where they can have unsupervised visits, and I always have new people coming up. And I've only been in the field for 6 months, but I was born in 1985, is where I child welfare.
How do you, as dealing with these kids at this stage, how do you guys take care of your own health? Let me be a pastor to you guys a minute. That's what I'm getting to, the personal recovery for you to deal with this every day. My dad is a retired trauma surgeon.
Oh my
And
gosh.
my dad is a retired trauma surgeon. I mean, he coped with things well for a while. And as he got later in his career, he used other coping mechanisms that required recovery.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's got to be a challenge to do what you do every day, to be superheroes, to put the cape on. But how do you take the cape off and just have some normalcy too? Because you've been traumatized by being, it's like seeing the trauma over and over again in different ways and different capacities.
Well,
We
How
all
do you
do.
guard your hearts?
We all do yoga.
You all do yoga.
And what our listeners don't know is that we all live together as well. So we have each other.
You're able to talk
And
through.
Hannah and I
there's
are both
support.
yoga instructors.
So you're able to support it through, work through it.
That's one thing that we do.
Yeah, you'd have to have a really good care system because I would say, Rosemary, in this world of this kind of work, is there a lot of burnout amongst the workers that are doing
There's
this?
a lot of burnout. And right now, there is a big push for self-care. There is a new director from the CFS has a new director. And this is the first time I have ever seen throughout all these years. She is like putting out like an email almost weekly about self-care. it is very vital because DCFS workers, they make more money to do what they do. The agencies make less money.
Yeah, I understand that.
And
I understand faith-based payments.
Right.
I work there.
Yes,
We do it for the love of God, and it's the truth.
and then so you have to at least you have to make time for you.
Yeah. And recovery time for your own trauma from this, because to watch children repeatedly be traumatized, you can get very, very scarred.
Yeah, in the field we call it secondhand trauma.
Secondhand trauma.
Yeah, we have each other. I think the ability to be able to see positive and to be optimist and to laugh every day a little bit, I think that's fundamental.
Yeah.
I do yoga, they do yoga, we do meditation.
I'm saying all this because you guys are special, and we need to protect you guys because you're protecting the least of these, and you're seeing a lot. And while the kids are there, with 19,000 in the system currently, and 2,600 coming in this year, and only 465 going out in your system, the water's going to continue to flow. So you got to pace yourself, but at the same time, how do you pace yourself if a child's having to live in the office?
I think it's a great question, and I feel like I have a lot to say about it. Like, how do you keep going with something like this? And because you're giving so much of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's important to be able to see the value in what you're doing and be able to get something back and know that you're helping people and to connect with the people you're helping, to treat them with patience and kindness and understanding. Like, I try to connect with my clients as much as I can to see them as people, while still having that professional boundary. So that way there's a sense of warmth and a sense of we're working together as a team, not I'm trying to force you to complete these services. Right. And then there's also the professional aspect of every day I walk down the hallway where all the caseworkers are, and I just look in their doors and I say, hey, how are you doing? What's going on here and there? And having that personal connection in the office,
a long way.
It does.
Yeah,
and Lutheran Social Services has a really good office culture where people are really nice to each other. They really take time to take care of their workers because they know that they have to, because this is really grueling work.
You're a critical resource right now in the life of our state and our country.
Really
I appreciate what you guys do. I was thinking you're going to deal with kids on their worst day, but you're also going to see, I mean, you could look at the amount of trauma on kids and go, man, we're a horrible humanity. Then you get to go work with these foster families that are being the best humanity to help you with this. And so you kind of get, do you ever feel a bit bipolar? You go from this horrible situation, then you see this great family willing to help you fight the battle. And it's kind of like, maybe that creates some balance.
You'd be shocked at how joyful and happy and bright these kids can be, though.
Yeah.
It's really, it will
she
blow
said the
you
work's
away.
hard, but the reward is worth it.
It is.
And great. So I just want to encourage people, go to lssi.org/foster care. Find out how you can be involved. And she said the emergency program is an option. It's a lower level program where you can do shorter term stuff. They've got respite options where you can do some relief work and stuff. A family has to have surgery or they got to be out of it. You can step in and help. You could help with the Christmas holiday, gifts. You could maybe organize an event. You do events. I know Restore does a lot of events for their foster families just to kind of get them together and so creates they do fishing. They have groups do fishing tournaments for them and barbecue. Just you could reach out to them and say, we just want to do something nice
and
for
just
the
be
families.
kind to children.
Yeah,
everybody can do that. Everybody can do that.
And
Just
quit,
be nice to kids.
quit blaming them for being in a foster care system. Let's think about the fact that maybe we could all have a part of that, and maybe the children are just trying to, like the rest of us, survive. Let's help them out. The Bible says we don't blame them. It says, we help them. Yeah. So let's help them out. So go to LSSI, check that out, email them, use the QR code wherever you want. There's another video we didn't show that's got a whole testimony on it. Go find those videos, take a look at them, and call and talk to them. Call Hannah. First of all, tell her that we told you to call her, and you get a coffee mug.
Exactly.
And don't forget, find out where Zach's on the couch. So here, let me get the couch shot.
Can we touch on a moment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ways that for donation of products.
Tell us how we can
coming.
get stuff. What's going on? Give us the next moves.
So in terms of like donations, again, you can get a hold of me and let me know. And we can coordinate that kind of thing, like just calling the Marion office, finding that number. You can just find it online and have them direct you to licensing. We are always needing donations of, like you said, hygiene products, shoes, back to school items.
Because you're getting somebody and they don't have anything.
Yep.
If you think a 12, 13, 14-year-old boy or girl coming to the house, just think of what they would need in a love kit bag and pack that bag full and bring it to them.
That's perfect. And then
Or your
also,
church, your organization, your youth group. What a deal to just do some hygiene kits.
We
When we
need
do the
it,
shelter,
yeah.
when we do the shelter, we're planning on giving people hygiene bags when they come in. So
Yeah.
Exactly. Stuff like that. And then coming up on the holidays, we have over 500 kiddos in our office that we try to provide supplements to their Christmas and their
because these
holidays.
families are coming into other foster families and they're stretched already, so you're trying to help make sure that they help them with the Christmas. 'Cause
So,
You have
so
the
we're looking.
Christmas tree program, right? That they pick.
Yeah, sometimes we put trees places, but we just look for organizations to sponsor our kids. If you're just an individual and you want to sponsor 1 or 2 kids, you can do that too.
your organization can do 1 or 2. You can do an individual. You can pick an extra kid and take the gifts, or you can just buy a pallet of stuff, whatever's cool out there.
Yep.
Buy
No,
a
that's
pallet.
true, and just bring it by.
No, your organization bring a pallet. Buy a pallet of the new Power Ranger. Bring it to her, and she'll figure out who gets it.
There's
Exactly.
the donations, there's the fostering, there's the mentoring.
Yeah.
There's, if you want to help, there's a way to help.
Mm-hmm.
And big or small, there's something that everyone can do to help the kids in our communities.
And you do any assistance in events like a food event, if you want to do a gathering event or you want to do something nice, just strategize with Hannah. I mean, and this one group in Waterloo, our last episode with Restore, they have a men's group up there that just has a big lake, and they just do all the families up there. They let them come out and fish and have a barbecue.
so awesome.
And the men are out there fishing and
That's
bait.
great.
You know how frustrating me baiting kids' hooks? These men are patient at baiting all these kids' hooks. Every time I bait my kids' hooks, they put the hook in me. So they just have a fishing day and just get to be a kid.
Fantastic.
Wouldn't it be nice if kids could be kids?
Exactly. If they didn't have to be
Kids could be
parentified.
kids. Yeah, it didn't have to be parentified.
Yeah.
And I just thought, what a little thing for this group to do a fishing thing once a year. So there's lots of ways you can help. Pray about it, dream about it, think about it, reach out to Hannah about it, and do that. You'll find out in the show notes how to get hold of her. Maybe we can get Donna an email for Hannah that we can get in the show notes as well.
That'd be awesome.
That we can put in it. We'll do that. So we'll do that after the show. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
They're here late
Thank you for
night.
having us.
They're here late night. It's been dynamically interesting. You guys did an incredible job representing, and I really like the fact that you guys are managing your own healthcare and your own mentality so that you can stay in the game. I'm an old football coach, 20 years. We got to stay in shape, keep that core good, stay in the game because the next kid's a call away. And the next foster parent that wants to step in is a call away.
That's true.
And you guys kind of span the gap in between. So you guys are kind of like Elastic Man. That's your superpower. you grab the kid, find a family that'll love them, put them together, and the next thing you know, we have a better humanity, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming. Mother Beth, thanks for coming for the late night show.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's gonna be up all night. She's had all this caffeine. Donna, you doing okay? Great show.
I'm fine. This
Donna,
has
you
been
did,
fantastic.
yeah, you did a great
It's a lot
job
of fun.
producing the show. Good
You're
job.
very welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
she
you.
named the show. She got my notes for me.
Wow,
It was
thank
incredible.
you.
She does everything. She's magic. She's special. Donna, thank you so much for that today. And we'll be back for other episodes. We're getting close to the end of season 3, but you never know. This will probably be a best of season 3. You're gonna see it again. You'll be in reruns. You'll be syndicated. We'll have you guys back because this issue needs to be talked about.
Yes,
needs
it does.
needs to get out there. So go to onthedoc.org, find out more about our show. Go back and watch season 1, 2, and get all of 3. And make sure you watch the first part of this series, and also go catch the ones with Restore and take the whole 4-part series and really pray about whether you could take action. And then you don't care which path they take. You just need people in the game.
Just need people. Yep.
Both organizations are just trying to help children. I mean, that's very clear.
Something we should all be able to agree on.
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
all
Help the kids in
agree.
our communities.
And if you can't help them yourself, you could step in and do one of these other methods and
Really,
do that.
yes,
And
anything.
we'll encourage that. So onthedoc.org, email us at info@onthedoc.org. If you've got that location where that couch is for Zach, email Donna there as well. Go to YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes, watch our show or listen to our show and check out our other mediums as well. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. We'll say X too. Twitter next. Go there and talk to us about that. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear your testimony. Maybe you're a foster parent out there and you want to give a testimony or share something. We'd love to do that. We'll get you back in the studio and talk to you about it. You could encourage other people. Maybe you're somebody that was a product of the system and you're out there succeeding today because a foster parent helped you out. Come talk to us. We'd love to have you encourage others out there that it's made a difference. I think these videos are key, and we would love to have you at On the Doc. Hit subscribe, like, notify, tell others about it. Go to Patreon, be a partner sponsor of the show. We would love to have you. 4 levels of partnership, 3 levels of sponsorship. sponsorship. Check that out. And then look, at the end of the show, we're going to give you a commercial one more time so you can keep people from listening to you, taking your stuff, invading your privacy. We're going to go to slnt.com, promo code OTD. Go to Silent, find out their products for you. They've got all kinds of things from bags to purses to wallets to key fobs. You need to find something to protect your right to privacy. Check that out, slnt.com/discount/OTD, and find out about those products and see if they're right for you. If they're right for you, they bless us. Let's work together and reclaim your right to privacy. I'm Pastor Troy. We're at Community Faith Church at coftv.com. You can find our church, find out details about it. 10 o'clock on Sundays, 6:30 on Wednesdays. If you want to be a foster parent, come tell me on Sunday, and I'll get you directly to Hannah. I promise that. And I'll give you a cup. Community Faith Church is in Marion, Illinois. We'd love to help be a part of the solution and help end this problem. I think foster a child's a good plan. You guys are doing great work.
Great.
Thank you so much for coming through. Donna, again, thank you. Mother Beth, thank you. Zach, Hannah,
Thank you.
Our
Rosemary,
pleasure.
thank the other workers that weren't able to be here, and say goodnight to any of the kids sleeping in your office tonight for us.
Oh my gosh.
We pray somebody out there would be the next foster parent up and make sure that it doesn't have to happen. No child should have to do that longer. They should not have to sleep next to Zach at his desk.
No.
They should not have to do that. But, in the meantime, thank God for your willingness and your team's willingness to stand in the gap anyway. You guys are superheroes. I'm Pastor Troy. We'll be back in more episodes, wrapping up season 3, and watch out for the best of season 3. And you never know, there could be a season 4. We'll see you soon. I'm Pastor Troy. Go check out On the Dock and watch as we go out with this commercial from SLNT. We'll see you soon.
There are more than 8 billion phones in the world, a fact that threatens your privacy, security, and health. With Silent Pocket Faraday protection, you can regain control over your mobile devices. We get it. Privacy and security are inconvenient topics, and you may feel like you have nothing to hide, but the fact is that in the modern world, your laptop is never really off. Your phone emits a signal, even in airplane mode. And everything from your passport to your credit cards contains RFID, and all of it contains valuable private information that is easily exploited in the wrong hands. Silent Pocket offers a range of products you already use: wallets, bags, travel gear, laptop sleeves, key cases, but with the added protection of our patented Faraday technology, which turns your devices invisible and safe from the outside world. Many industries, from top business professionals to government officials, require the use of Faraday products for the day-to-day security of them and their staff. They understand that we are constantly at risk and take the necessary steps to prevent future attacks. We offer this elite technology to anyone that values their personal data, and we are proud to offer a premium range that fits seamlessly into your everyday life, providing security without looking like a tinfoil hat. As we learn to live with technology, Silent Pocket stands on the 3 pillars of privacy, security, and health. Our goal is to provide harmony with mobile technology without risking our most valuable information. We hope you'll trust us to help you do the same.